Hello, listener. You will be able to enjoy Cosmic Motion even if we're discussing a movie you have not yet seen. But as we're talking about many elements of this film and will almost certainly spoil some aspects, if you'd rather not know anything in advance, watch the movie first and then come back and join our discussion. Welcome to episode 15 of Cosmic Motion, an audio program where we discuss motion pictures, good, bad, ugly, and always interesting throughout the cinematic cosmos. We are filmmakers talking about films and filmmaking. We're recording this on February 16th, 2025. I'm here with Ship Captain Colin Dixon. Colin is a multimedia editor and all-around cruise ship aficionado.
Indeed, and I'm here with First Mate Bill. And he's a director, writer, raconteur, Tour Johnson, all the tours.
This week, our guest is Cindy Freeman. Cindy began her career in the film industry at DreamWorks Animation shortly after moving to Los Angeles in 2009. At DreamWorks, she worked in editorial on two features, Peabody and Sherman and The Boss Baby. Bouncing around different parts of the industry for the next few years, she gained experience in stereo conversion, VFX, and previs, and finally landed in the world of live-action post-production. All of her experience in the film industry led her to a career as a post-production supervisor. Her most recent show, The Madness, starring Colin Domingo, can be seen on Netflix. Welcome, Cindy.
Hello.
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 Nice to have you.
Good to be here.
Full disclosure, Cindy and I have worked together before, and we also have mutual friends.
Do we?
Yeah, Jenna.
Oh, yeah.
And Craig.
And we're going to
that's
unearth
right.
the dirt on all of them.
Who we haven't
Perfect.
neither of us has seen in years, probably.
No, I have not.
It's been so long. As far as your passion for movies, episodics, all that jazzy jazz, where did it begin? Did you see something as a child where you were taken in by visual storytelling?
Well, I'm a child of the 80s, so naturally Star Wars.
Yeah.
Definitely a Star Wars nerd. I have an older brother, so he was, definitely responsible for a lot of what I consumed as a child.
Yeah.
And, we watched a lot of television, which is why I love television.
Can you think of any shows from that time that you like or that?
I mean, obviously, like Love Boat. I'm kidding. It seemed
I was
appropriate for.
I was actually wondering if maybe because this set cost so much that they used on the film that we're talking about, and was like, I wonder if they use this later on the Love Boat or something
right.
else.
Yeah. I mean, they would have been smart too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an expensive set. Shows that I really, it's funny because we watched anything, and there were all of 3 channels when I was growing up until. I was probably 9 and we got cable. But, we would watch Murder, She Wrote. We would watch Facts of Life, Different Strokes. My brother was big into animation, so he watched a lot of Transformers and He-Man. And so pretty much everything, anything and everything. We all actually early on, we watched a lot of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, right on.
So we had a very early education into the whole comedy sphere. I also was a huge Letterman fan and Carson.
Right on.
Yeah, funny enough, even though I was pretty young. But yeah, I remember when Letterman first took over late night, I definitely saw that from early on, and it had an impact on me. And then, Conan years later.
Yeah.
Which
Conan.
we were just talking about. Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot happening in my early years, and I was fortunate enough to have family that took us to the movies quite a bit. So
yeah. Do you remember any of those films that had an impact on you?
Probably the earliest film I saw in the theater was, I'm gonna say, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was what, 1980?
I think it's 81. Yeah.
81. Okay.
I think it is 80.
Or maybe it's 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. 77, 80, and 83.
83. Yeah, definitely for a return.
And we had all the toys. My brother I had a Death Star toy.
Wow.
Right on.
It had the garbage compactor with the little foam
What?
bricks. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did it have the
No.
little monster, the little one-eyed?
It did. I think it did. I'm trying to think what that. I'm pretty sure my brother repurposed that for something else. He loved to repurpose
What
the
an
toys.
amazing smell you've discovered.
It did. So I also had that, and you would put water into those little foam things, and they would disintegrate over time.
Did not know that.
Yeah,
Thank you for telling me. But it did have the retractable bridge.
Yeah.
That I remember. So that was fun. And then we had all of the action figures. We actually had, before Return of the Jedi came out, this is how old I am, we had action figures with packaging that said Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have any of those still, do you?
No, we don't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's amazing. I
We
didn't know
opened
that.
them up and played with them.
I
We
knew
didn't.
about the Revenge of the Jedi title change, but I didn't know that they had actually made toys with it on there
Yeah.
already.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Because it was a
interesting.
very last minute title change.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a poster with it
I've seen it.
advertised
I've
for
seen it.
upcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're in my wheelhouse. I mean, I had the figures as well, and they all had like lightsabers that would come out of their arms, and you would
Yes.
lose them.
There was a little thing you push.
Yeah, but you would lose them immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Unless you were careful.
That's right.
I used to play with them in the tub, so they would all kind of fade, like little bits of paint would come off.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was good for me.
I had the Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker in the all black. And because I was in love with Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
my brother
Mark Hamill's a
peeled
hunk.
the paint off of his face to give him a beard to mess with me.
Oh, no.
And it was like one of the worst days of my life.
Did you get another one? What happened?
No, there was no getting another one.
Your parents were just like, sorry, your brother ruined your life.
Yeah, sorry, deal with it.
Them's
Jeez.
fighting
It's a
action.
different time, Bill.
Yeah. Did you punch him? This was a time when you could punch your brother, right? Okay. I wasn't sure.
Probably. I did not.
You're restrained.
I was restrained.
So you do a lot of post-production supervising. What's that like? What does a post-production supervisor do?
Oh my gosh. How long is this podcast?
What's the short version of that?
The short version, managing editors. It starts out with getting dailies and making sure the dailies are coming in from the dailies facility and
Right.
getting those to your editors. And we worked together.
We did.
Once in that capacity.
Yeah.
And then managing the cuts for all the different, stakeholders that are involved, editor, director, producers, studio network. And then once those cuts are locked, then you're off to the races with ADR and
Right.
color and VFX, a lot of VFX.
So it's a lot of like people managing,
Yeah.
information managing, a high pressure, very fast moving sort of machine that's happening.
Depending on, I did a network show. I did season 5 of The Rookie, which is an ABC show. And that was a lot. That was, yes, exactly what you're saying. Netflix is a little different pace. They, as you guys know, they, as your listeners also know, they complete all of the episodes before they release. So it's not as strenuous as,
Network.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then there's the finishing process. So post supervisor is generally for episodic, sitting in the post facility to drop in VFX and finish the picture, depending on the show. But generally, the post producer will kind of do the sound mixing and managing that part, where the post supervisor is taking the reins on doing all the picture finishing. And then, everything's coming together. You're delivering a show. You do that, times 22 or times 8.
Right.
And I love it. I feel like all the jobs I've had in the industry up until this point, or up until I became a post soup in 2019, kind of prepared me for the job, especially like VFX. The VFX workflow is very specific, and
It is.
yeah. So, and every show is a VFX show. Anybody that in an interview, if anybody says that this is not a VFX show, I know immediately they're lying.
It's gonna be.
Like, maybe you don't know this is a VFX show, but it is.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's funny. The other day, I was on a set of Hacks, and I saw a boom. Yeah, I saw a boom.
One of my favorite shows.
I had never seen this. The microphone cover on the mic, the muff, the soft part that goes over the actual microphone, was green. So just in case it ever dips into frame.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Easy VFX removal. I mean, it's not even a VFX.
What about the pole?
The pole was not green.
Exactly.
Just there's your VFX.
Yeah.
There's your VFX. Yeah.
What about the operator?
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
He was not green.
Unfortunately, if he's in there, then you've got more problems than
Yeah, I
that.
suppose.
It's true.
The green
There's
microphone.
a lot of boom operators and a lot of shots.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of reflective surfaces. Like, you kind of, as a person in post, you kind of are curious what those meetings are like in production. Like,
Right.
no, this makes sense. Let's put a bunch of mirrors up.
Right.
And then set up some cameras.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It'll be fine.
Some people are so cognizant of that, and then others are not at all. Like I was on another set. It was, well, I shouldn't say what it is, but I was on another set, and we were shooting in a diner, and they were immediately very cognizant of all the reflections, maybe almost too much, like in my opinion. I mean, I didn't see their perspective, so maybe I was missing something, but it was, they were hyper focused on this. And
to where it's affecting the creative process.
Well, to the point where they may be taking too much time changing the lighting because for something. But again, I might be speaking out of turn. I didn't see their perspective, so I don't know for sure. But anyway, the point being that they were definitely highly sensitive to it. And then others, as you say, don't think about it at all, apparently. They don't use dulling spray. They don't move the camera. It's, the crew's in the shot. Okay, I guess we're okay. Let's go. Let's roll. Yeah. It's funny.
I worked on a show where there was a car that drove into frame. The car door opened. The entire crew is in the car door.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the kicker. I don't even know what position this guy was. He was in all yellow. Everybody else was in black. He was in head to toe yellow.
That was the Banana Man. You don't know the Banana Man?
I didn't know that part of the storyline.
No. He's the Banana Man on the crew. That's what he does. Banana.
Yeah.
I'm just making this up.
He just does banana.
Yeah. That's why he's all in yellow. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense now.
So with regards to different aspects of filmmaking, would you say that now post-supervising, that sort of management, producing, is that your favorite aspect, or are there other aspects you like more? Like, I don't know, do you like cinematography or something?
I dabble in writing here and there, as a lot of us do. You know, I've written some pilots and and just for my own creative outlet.
Fantastic.
I've done some things here and there, but yeah, I do love post. I've always, from the beginning of working in animation, I knew kind of that editors were my people. I feel a real kinship with them and camaraderie that I don't always feel with, probably because there are people that like to sit in a dark room. And
so do you also have to take loads and loads of vitamin D supplement like me?
No, I take regular walks.
Okay.
Yes,
fair enough.
But good question.
I take walks too. What's wrong with you, Colin? Come on, get outside, man.
Hey, that explains the sciatica.
But there's definitely times where you can't leave your office for hours and hours.
In the zone.
So then you just need like a little lizard lamp or the supplements.
We should also mention that you had a podcast a few years back that was about filmmaking.
I did.
What was the name of it, and what was it about?
It was
you guys talk
called Film Method. You cannot find it anywhere. Sorry.
At the moment.
Except Bill has it on CD.
Yeah.
I do.
CDs,
if you guys want me to send it to you,
just write in to the show.
Don't contact me.
We'll make the copies.
Well, I do feel actually kind of a responsibility to share it. We should put it up on YouTube or something. We should get it up there so that and maybe you could just monetize that channel, and then boom, you're making some passive income.
Well, I'll tell you what. So when we actually start hosting this thing, we'll have room to maybe we'll have some Patreon episodes. And you're just not going to see a dime of it.
We're gonna.
I see what's happening.
Here's some bonus Film Method.
That's what I signed.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what you signed.
The disclaimer.
You signed away the Film Method.
My own likeness.
That's right.
Plus any future proceeds for Film Method.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, what it was a show that broke down filmmaking, and you talked to all different kinds of filmmakers, and I found it really instructive and informative, and it was fun to listen to different people's stories. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I had just moved to LA, and I was working with Jenna. Jenna was my co-host. And I was like, how do I network with people? Jenna is very good at networking, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I thought, well, why don't I just interview people and make it a podcast?
Yeah.
And it worked out. It was kind of a film school for me, because I then learned what each person on the crew did, and it was great because there were a lot of just indie, filmmakers that would come in, and which was, it's a very different perspective than, not very different, but there is a different perspective in the indie world than when you're working on a big studio
100%.
feature.
And they cross too, so that's also useful. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thanks for the plug for a show nobody can.
Well, no,
not yet.
Not yet. But
Patreon
knows?
tier of Cosmic Motion.
Everybody,
just saying.
Patreon. Today we're talking about a film from 1965, Ship of Fools. And I'm going to give a plot, and I'm going to be brief. An unhappy cruise ship doctor and his crew are surrounded by an amalgam of 1933 Americans, Mexicans, and Germans, maybe some Spaniards, on their way from Mexico to Germany, each with their own lusty, romantic, ideological human dramas to play out in miniature. By the end, you'll surely learn something you didn't already know about human beings, won't you? Well, won't you?
Good evening.
Good evening. You seem in good spirits.
I am. I delivered a baby tonight.
Oh, wonderful. What was it, a boy or a girl?
Boy.
What about our celebration?
What do you mean?
Our dance.
Oh, you intimidated me. I really don't dance.
I thought so. But this is a waltz, and even you can manage a waltz.
I doubt it.
I don't. Just follow me, and then follow the music.
How do you feel?
I can't seem to get over this cold. But I guess I'll be better if I can get another night's sleep. You'll have to help me again.
It's not helping you.
Oh, Willie, don't lecture me. You lose count.
I'm trying to tell you how serious it is.
What are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me I'm an addict?
Wow.
Gee, wow.
That's my plot summary.
Seems a little cynical, Bill.
I want to encourage both of you to talk about this film as much as possible.
Oh, why is that,
Yeah,
Bill?
what's up with that? Billion.
Because I want to hear your beautiful voices. There's a tagline that I want to that they put out for this film that I also gives off some of the vibes that I think the film does. Explorer, mistress, vagrant, loafer, artist, tramp, ... They are all at the captain's table! !
Oh my God.
That's actually one of the taglines for this
Okay,
movie.
interesting.
It was a different time.
This is Stanley Kramer Productions. Stanley Kramer produced it for $4 million, which kind of blew my mind a little
A lot
bit.
of money back then.
Yeah, 1964, let's assume.
Did you run the inflation calculator on
did.
this one as well?
I did. I ran the government one, which
Excellent.
is bls.gov.
Okay.
There's still a government website that's available?
Yeah, seriously.
Shocking.
They didn't take the inflation calculator down.
Yeah, see, and
It's
by the
only 'cause
time
they
this
don't know
by the
about
time this podcast comes out, they'll probably all be gone. So, kids, there used to be institutions. Never mind. The podcast is just too short.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so
Just watch the movie and you'll get the gist of what's happening in 2025.
Actually, yeah.
the $4 million is now equivalent to about $41 million. So this,
So it's a mid-budge.
if I may say, it's certainly mid. If I may say, this soap opera cost $41 million.
It's a bit reductive, Billiam.
I'm
It's a
just
bit
saying.
reductive.
I'm just saying. Okay.
Did
All
you
right.
just call him Billion?
Billiam.
Billiam?
Oh, Billiam.
It's a
Okay.
portmanteau.
It's a common combination of my nickname and my real name.
No, I get that.
The studio was Columbia Pictures Corporation. They distributed it. And Stanley Kramer directed. He's best known for films like The Defiant Ones, Inherit the Wind, Judgment in Nuremberg, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, 1967.
I just want to know what the original, like his director's cut, how long that
please.
version was.
Please.
Don't
His
you think
original
it was?
Ship of Fools director's cut. Well, I mean, it's a pretty long-winded film as it is.
If
I know,
if anybody has a longer version of this film, please don't tell us about it.
Please, we never want to know. Just bury it.
All right. I'm going to actually ask you guys, what was your first impression of Ship of Fools?
You know, I wasn't expecting to have the kind of reaction to it that I did. I actually I was not as pained by it as Bill was, I think. I'm gleaning.
What pain?
Yeah.
What pain?
I guess I kind of saw it as an odd salve for our current situation, or kind of like a preemptive commiseration, maybe.
Oh, gosh.
But that being said, I'm not saying it did those things particularly artfully, or it certainly lacked nuance.
Did you say artful?
Yeah. It definitely bludgeons you with virtually every theme that it intends to carry across. And usually I would have an allergy to something like that, but I didn't quite this time around.
It was the black and white. It threw you off.
No. What's interesting is Kramer had been working in color prior to this.
Yeah, well, not only, I mean, it's 1965 and it's a black and white film. I guess that's how you can tell it's art.
Okay, jeez, Bill's suffered.
And it was, I haven't said that I didn't like it. And also, it won the Academy Award for Best Black and White Cinematography.
Black and whites. Okay, I thought you were going to say Best Picture, and I was
no,
it didn't. It lost.
It did not. It did have a lot of...
Didn't it lose to The Sound of Music?
It didn't win. I know that. I don't know what won. Is it Sound of Music?
I believe it was.
Okay.
Cindy,
but you're going to have to check the facts on that.
What's your first impression, Sydney?
First impression. Actually, I thought that it was quite relevant to today's themes that we're dealing with politically.
Yeah. Whatever do you mean?
Whatever could you mean? Well, Nazis.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was quite the Nazi storyline happening, especially with the angry Nazi.
Miguel Ferrer?
Yes, thank you.
José Ferrer.
José Ferrer. Miguel
Ferrer.
Is his son, excuse me.
Yeah.
Reader.
Really? Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're almost spitting images of each other.
I mean, the ears are definitely there. I think the face is a little different.
The hairline for sure.
The hairline.
Yeah, the hairline for sure.
Very distinct. Yeah, I agree. No nuance. So I'm gonna it's
nuance.
It's pretty
you say?
much hitting you over the head with the messages. But I was actually honestly impressed with the set. I was impressed with
a nice set.
How many dolly moves in this film. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, if you went through the dailies and saw all the, obviously they're not, I can't imagine they're painting out dolly tracks. Maybe they did. Maybe they were just better at hiding those things in 1965 than they are now.
I think they were better at moving those things. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. And they're not shooting in mirrors. So that does help. But yeah, I think just the scale of it was kind of impressive. And now that you say it was the equivalent of $40 million today, that makes sense. I'm sure 44 million. Sorry. Oh. I think that, that was all probably spent on the set.
Sorry, 41. Yeah. It was a lot spent on the set. And what I should say about the set is that it took up 4 sound stages. They built a ship.
Wow.
And it had 4 levels. Mm-hmm. So this thing was massive.
Yeah.
They built it at Columbia and then they took it apart and took it to Paramount. So I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe
took
it was
the
schedules.
Ship to Paramount.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
To shoot there apparently. So yeah, massive ship.
Bill, what were your first impressions of Ship of Fools?
Okay, I like that it's high-minded and ambitious. I think that it's talking about important things. Naturally, this is 20 years after World War II, so okay, could have happened a little sooner, but whatever, it's fine. It's an interesting take on different cultures, smushed together on a ship, on a cruise ship. A lot of, I guess, sort of the wealthier folks from those cultures, and then some, less wealthy folks, which seemed to be then turned into pimps and prostitutes for some reason. We'll get into that. So I think the execution is off. Some of the performances, such as those of Oskar Werner, Simone Signoret, Heinz, Rühmann, and Michael Dunn, excellent. Mm-hmm. Like those guys are fantastic actors.
Yeah.
Some of the performances, even by the good actors, are pitched a little shrill for me. José Ferrer's Reber, I know he's the bad guy, but holy smokes.
Yeah.
Like, they make him into this buffoon, just chasing around this younger, I guess she's German lady. I'm sure she's German. The cute blonde. Yeah, well, she's blonde.
Yeah. And then the snoring scene with him and
Rühmann. What's that character's name?
His bunk mate.
Yeah.
That was there. There was a lot of buffoonery in there as well.
Yeah. Heinz Rühmann played Lowenthal. That's his bunk mate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing about Ferrer that I did like was that they show that he actually may not be German because Rühmann says, well, you're accent. That's the weirdest German accent I've ever heard. And he says, well, I'm from near the border. And apparently there were Slavic people, like, maybe from the Czechoslovakia area, who were coming into Germany and then I guess becoming these crazy nationalists. I don't know. At least this character did. And so he's acting like he's German, but he may be Slavic, whereas the Jewish character actually is German.
Right.
So that kind of complexity is welcome. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
It was just what you were talking about, Colin, with the lack of subtlety and the kind of hammering of certain cartoonish stereotypes or messages. I realize that they're trying to make a proto-Nazi look foolish, but it was a bit much at times.
I mean, they literally have him wearing devil horns at one point. Yeah,
I know.
I loved that detail, actually.
It's not subtle. Yeah,
No.
I mean, however you feel about that. I mean, and I suppose the movie is doing that's just kind of an interesting microcosm of the film and writ large. It's doing that across the board. And I don't know. So would Bill? I guess the question then would be: do you feel like? I guess what would be a subtler or more interesting way to convey some of this thing? We haven't gotten into the themes.
When you do the Ship of Fools remake,
Yes.
how are you going to approach it?
People all said sit down.
And by the way, I'm not trying to suggest that there's not a more nuanced and interesting way. And
No, I don't think you are.
I prefer nuance. To me, that's what gives a movie its staying power, is when you have to kind of unpack these things and over time and wrestle with them in your mind. So you don't have to do that with this film.
Well, I think what you're talking about takes us to the writing. So let's talk about the writing a little bit.
Sure.
This is based on the novel Ship of Fools, 1962, by Catherine Ann Porter. And Kramer bought the rights prior to publication, so he knew right away that he was interested in this property. And the script is by Abby Mann, who's best known for Judgment at Nuremberg, which I have not seen, but is supposed to be a fantastic film.
Apparently, there's a lot of judgment in that movie.
A lot of judgment at Nuremberg.
It's a judgmental film.
It is very judgmental.
Definitely. You know where there's also a lot of judgment?
This room.
In the show? Yes. Absolutely. Well, always. Well, that's our job. But also on the show with a detective who likes lollipops, Abby Mann created Kojak.
Oh, boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently Porter didn't like the adaptation, finding it vulgar and shallow. So I'm not the only one. But
You know what? Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off.
No. That was the end of that thought. What were you going to say?
It felt very much like a stage performance to
Yes.
me.
Indeed.
It was very much like it.
Yes.
So I wonder if Kramer's, if he came up in the theater, or because that was very heavily his directing style. It was these broad performances and, very big and.
Right. Well, there was a mixture, wasn't there? Because it seemed like Oskar Werner and Simone Signoret, they were more subtle, subdued, and nuanced. Mm-hmm. And then you'd have José Ferrer and the German lady, and then sometimes
the dancers,
sometimes Vivien Leigh. Yeah, like they'd have these big, Lee Marvin is acting like.
Oh my God, Lee Marvin.
I mean, he's acting like a gorilla with 2 brain cells through the whole movie. And if he follows a woman, he's just staring at her butt the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's literally following 2 feet behind her.
I felt like there was some truth in that performance.
What do you say? About Lee Marvin or about Americans?
No, just, yeah.
Oh, okay.
About gorillas.
Look, anytime, about gorillas in the mist. Anytime you can make a fun of an American abroad, I'm for it.
Sure.
Definitely.
Like most of the time, because we embarrass ourselves constantly. But I mean, they could have made that character a little more complex. They could have had both sides of that. They could have had the guy who's a bit of a chauvinist and an idiot and an arrogant, entitled American, and then they could have also shown a more human side. And we didn't really see.
Agreed. And I actually think that this film, given the preponderance of cast, there are only really about 3 or 4 complex characters, if you really think about it.
No, totally.
But I'm with you, Cindy. I mean, I think that there is a staged quality about this, or at the very least, when I'm watching movies, I'm always trying to think to myself, what about this needs to be told through this medium? And there wasn't much about this that I could think of that had to be, a feature film other than that, accessibility, I suppose. But I mean, the only things that really feel particularly cinematic or utilize, like the as Bill likes to refer to it, as the poetry of cinema, are there's some these wide kind of epic feeling shots. There's this great shot of this I don't know if it's like a dock, but full of all these immigrants.
It's the B-roll.
Sure.
It's the stuff that they actually shot by the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So exactly. So and even the framing device of the thing. Michael Dunn plays like a little person who decides to break the fourth wall exactly twice. Yeah. Which felt very theatrical.
Yeah.
Which I was fine with. I had and I loved his performance.
Yes.
I actually don't know that actor, and I was like, this guy's amazing. Who is he? And I had to read about him a bit.
Yeah, putting him and Rühmann together was a good choice.
Yes.
Because those two are dripping with charisma for sure.
They are, you're right.
Yeah.
And to your point in the story, the Germans put them together because apparently they didn't want to sit with a Jew,
the outcasts,
or a small person.
Right.
Which, they used the term dwarf at the time. Now we say little people or little person. So, they were a great team because they're sort of the commentators of what's going on around the ship. They're sort of the more even-headed, less crazy, I guess, people on the ship. And so they're looking at the Germans, they're looking at the Americans, they're looking at the dancers, the Mexican Spanish dancers.
Well, something that probably drove you crazy, but it actually kind of forced me to run the experiment. Is
What's the experiment?
In that opening, I'm getting to it. Okay. In that opening fourth wall breaking speech, Michael Dunn, who plays a character named Carl Glocken, it challenges you to maybe find a little bit of yourself in one of the passengers on this ship of fools. Did you guys actually find yourself like trying to run that experiment? I kind of did, even though it's kind of
he said it and I immediately forgot about it.
Sure.
But I could tell you who I think I might identify with, but then I would feel a little bit like I'm choosing the character that I like the most.
I mean, it's going to be reductive either way if you're going to heap your personality on one of these kind of two-dimensional characters. But
I want to hear Bill's favorite.
Well, no, I want to hear Colin's first.
But I want to hear. Okay.
He did the experiment.
Well, okay. I put myself in Werner's shoes, Oskar Werner's shoes.
Yeah.
If only because. Which is not to suggest that I'm self-destructive. I just was, I guess I've nowadays, and Cindy touched on it, there's this national crisis happening. And that's kind of just been my waking experience for like the last few months, just this kind of disattached unwillingness to, interact with strangers or just because it's like this kind of this feeling of what's the point, and obviously that's something that everyone should snap out of. But I feel like a lot of people are probably staring at that. And
to the film's credit, that is part of what the film is talking about, that people are in this kind of state where they're ignoring what's going on around them in the real world. They're on this cruise ship.
Yes.
And meanwhile, there's sort of this fermenting trouble that they don't want to look at. They don't want to pay attention to it.
And you can feel the weight of that on the doctor's character.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're alluding to is
right.
you get the sense that he's actually, he's weighing out the different, situations happening around the world, but also in his own personal life. And I think that he is the most relatable. I will agree with that because he has this conscience of, trying to figure out what's happening in his life, also what's happening in the world, and trying to figure out, is he gonna, well, I don't want to spoil the movie.
Oh, we can spoil it.
We're spoiler heavy.
You did give the disclaimer.
Yes.
So, okay. Whether or not to go with La Condesa at the end of the movie he seemed like a person that was detached from it. And it was kind of, actually, I enjoyed watching those two more than anyone else. When
they were the best part.
Yes. I felt myself compelled to, and I got through the dance sequences and stuff just for another scene with Oskar and La Condesa. Oskar is the character's name, correct?
Dr.
Oskar
Schmidtmer
is the actor's name.
That's right.
And you can call him Oskar if you'd like.
That's what he told me to call him.
Familiar, since you're familiar.
No.
But so it's like that. You nailed it. I mean, it's the detachment that I related to his detachment.
But it's willful. It's willful.
It's willful, and it's not as if he's unaware of what's happening. In fact, it's almost as if he's just had enough.
That's his problem. Is he is a highly feeling person in a world that's falling apart, and he knows that he's not doing anything to make it better. And that's why he falls for the Contessa, because she is doing something to make it better.
Yes. Yes. But so now we need to, so we've teed it up for you to tell us who you see yourself in.
I mean, I think I see myself in a few characters. I definitely, liked the Schumann character, and I very much liked Glocken and Lowenthal. Those three characters I think I see aspects of myself.
See, I feel like you are
oh boy,
constantly whining and just whinging about art. So I saw a lot of George Segal in you, frankly. No, I kid.
Wow.
That's not
that character.
Damn.
Yeah. Can we talk about that relationship?
Please.
What was going on with what is that relationship? What is that?
Cindy, I defer to you.
What is that a real?
I think it was an idealistic. They were both artists, right?
What was she? Was she an artist?
She was.
Okay.
If you watch it the second time, you'll catch
that.
No.
Once is fine.
Please do. No. But yes, she was. Apparently, he was very critical. There were a lot of, I feel like, kind of thrown away lines that I'm glad that I watched it for a second time, because then I picked up on, they were both artists. So clearly that's how they, came to know each other.
But he wants her to be this like subservient,
mommy,
old school woman. Yeah.
Yes.
Like in the kitchen.
Right.
You're going to support me. I'm the artist.
You focus only on me. That line made me cringe.
Yeah.
That was tough to get through. His ideal woman. Yeah.
He seems to be foisted as like some kind of a protagonist. At least I guess insofar as this movie can have protagonists.
Yeah.
But he really is kind of a reprehensible guy.
He's obnoxious.
Yeah.
And actually,
he's pouty. It's watching him, clearly he doesn't see himself with Jenny, but yet he doesn't want another man to have her.
Do you feel like he didn't see? I thought he saw himself with Jenny. He wanted her to acquiesce to this role that he has for her.
But ultimately, it seemed that he knew she wouldn't.
Okay.
So I feel like he was doubting the relationship early on in the film. And that he was just kind of going through the motions with her.
They should have had him chasing some other woman on the ship then, but they didn't.
No, he was too busy pouting.
Yeah.
He's so much pouting.
He's a lot of pouting.
Really, presented as this kind of moral compass for the film, for part of it at least.
Right.
And it's not really earned.
Yeah.
Especially when you already have a character that's doing that perfectly well with the doctor.
The doctor and Glocken felt more moral, And also, Oskar Werner is struggling with morality.
Yeah.
We don't need this guy.
I think that every kind of caricature in this movie, it merely exists to try and reflect on some kind of something that society is doing during moments where nationalism pokes its head out, or at least maybe that's being a little bit too pointed, when societies are in crisis mode. So I just feel like they are supposed to be representative of some, maybe they are representative of the kind of ambivalence that.
They're not paying attention.
Exactly.
It's not like relationships aren't important.
No, but
but they're lost in their little world, and they're not paying attention to the world falling apart around them.
Right. But they're doing it in a way that's not nationalistic, like so many of the caricatured German figures are. I'm thinking specifically of, there's literally a German couple that has a dog,
right?
That they're carting around with them, and which superb dog acting, by the way. And
that dog goes overboard at one point.
He does.
Well, we don't see it.
We don't see it, but it goes overboard, and then a guy saves the guy they took the knife away from. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. But I mean, like they are an extreme example of that in the other direction. Whereas they are also absolutely ambivalent, but it seems like it's more selfish coming from them for some reason.
Well, the other shocking ambivalent character is Lowenthal.
Yeah.
He and at one point, Glocken
do you think he's ambivalent?
Yes.
I get that sense as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean in terms of just not paying attention?
He doesn't think. I mean, there's two lines. One is by the captain, and it's after José Ferrer makes the whole speech about exterminating the elderly and the Jews and people who aren't, who are useless in his mind.
Right.
He leaves the table, and the captain makes a comment that, I like listening to his speeches, but what the line is, something to the effect of, this is never going to happen. So we don't have to worry about it because it's never really going to.
Right. Well, yes, you're right. So Lowenthal does think that, people are good essentially, and that things are going to work out. That's true. But it's not out of ambivalence. It's out of, I guess he has too much faith in humanity and he doesn't realize how near the danger is. Right?
See, I kind of read it more as denial or,
denial, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
But which I guess I see as a form of ambivalence. But I mean, you could read that into his faith in humanity. Sure. I
think so. I mean, he seems like a very positive character. He has a very positive.
He tries to see the good in every.
He tries to see the good. Yeah. He even tries to explain things, to Reber, José Ferrer's character, when they're fighting over where to keep their toiletries. Yeah. And he's saying, if you put this here, then he's trying. He's actually doing the work of trying to get along with this hateful idiot.
But even Glocken has a line when Lowenthal is explaining to him, basically, I think he's saying that there's good in everyone. And so Glocken says, well, you might be the biggest fool of everybody.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Right. Well, no, I mean, that's there comes the Kramer hammer. Yeah.
The Kramer.
The Kramer. To knock us over the head. No, I mean, I get it. I think it's very clear that Lowenthal is portrayed as a very nice man who isn't careful enough about how he fears or doesn't fear this German threat, or the threat of the certain Germans who are nationalists, and racists and yada yada.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot going on in this film, and it is packed. It's almost enough that I want to go, cast member by cast member and go, oh, what about this guy? What about her? What about?
Let's do it.
Yes.
But before we do that, can I just ask you, because
that's hour 2.
That's hour 2. Well, going back to the Kramer, do you feel like Stanley Kramer in general is a filmmaker that beats you over the head with his ideology? I mean, he's certainly known as a liberal filmmaker.
I think I was prejudiced to him before I became more familiar with his work. I actually have only seen, I did see Guess Who's Coming to Dinner when I was a kid, and I liked it. I mean, who doesn't like Sidney Poitier? Yeah. But at the same time, I think there was a certain filmmaker who I won't name. They were comparing him with another filmmaker and talking about how heavy-handed he is with messages, etc. So perhaps I was immediately prejudiced before even seeing this film. It's not terrible, but that's another complaint I have about the film. But I don't want to get away from your question. Sure. I don't want to get away from your question. I don't have any problem with him being liberal. I'm maybe even more liberal than he is.
I guess I'm wondering if do you feel like he always brings the Kramer? Like, is he always hitting you over the head as aggressively as this film is?
I think I've avoided his films because that's his reputation.
Yeah.
That's his reputation of I am making an important film about fill in the blank, racism,
the soapbox,
or and that is some of the least interesting filmmaking that I can think of.
Okay. Yeah.
And especially in drama. Actually, this film is not terrible, but it's not great. It's serviceable and it's mediocre. And this is the kind of high-minded material, I think, that needed stronger talent at the time. Who, you might ask, might be somebody who could take this on in 1964, or perhaps Howard Hawks, maybe Joseph Losey, and this is totally out of the box because this guy might have still been in Europe after being blacklisted by the House Un-American Activities Committee. Jules Dassin, I think, might have done a great job. He made some amazing films that were kind of genre and that had ideas in them, and you felt they just flowed really well together. But what do I know? This film was nominated for 8 Academy Awards.
That was shocking to me, I have to say.
It is shocking. I mean,
I was surprised.
It's shocking and it's not. I feel like this is Oscar bait. That's another problem I have with the movie. It feels like Oscar bait, and it makes me cringe a little bit. Like, there's schlock that is exploitive in the sense of being egregiously violent or sexual, and then there's schlock that is egregiously, self-important and socially relevant to the point where it's just trying to get awards nominations and wins. And I feel like this falls into the latter category.
May I introduce myself? I'm Stanley Kramer, and I've just finished producing and directing a film called Ship of Fools. This film is based upon the best-selling novel by Catherine Ann Porter, which was 20 years in the writing. Quite a challenge for a filmmaker. I suppose it's very difficult to talk about a film in advance, mostly because we have made it difficult for ourselves. We have so often characterized a film as being colossal, tremendous, gigantic, that even should a film possess some of these qualities, I couldn't very well blame you for a certain amount of disbelief. Nonetheless, I do feel this is the finest film with which I have ever been associated. Now, that may mean a great deal in some quarters, somewhat less in others. But I'd like you to take a look at some of the people who made Ship of Fools, one of the greatest international casts, I think, with which we've ever been associated. Vivien Leigh, one of the great actresses of our time, twice winner of the Academy Award, playing the wistful, embittered divorcee, a woman 46 who doesn't want to be 46. Who but Simone Signoret, another Academy Award winner for Best Actress, to play a mature woman of the world, a contessa, in a most affecting love story. Look at this man, Oskar Werner. I believe him to be the next great international star in his role of a doctor, a fool because he is unable to commit himself to anything, even to the woman he loves. José Ferrer, who also owns an Academy Award, in the satiric role of his career. The girl is Germany's Christiane Schmidtmer. Big and tough Lee Marvin, as an ex-ball player from Texas. And pretty tough for Vivien Leigh to handle, too. Elizabeth Ashley and George Segal. Elizabeth Ashley was the hit of Broadway in Barefoot in the Park. George Segal is perhaps the most talked of young actor on the way up in Hollywood. That's José Greco, one of the world's great dancers. This is his first dramatic role. That's Charles Corvin, who plays the captain of the Ship of Fools. Germany's greatest star, Heinz Rühmann. When you see his performance, you'll know why. The man with him is Sweden's Alf Kjellin. Now here is a really tremendous actor. Michael Dunn made a triumph on the New York stage, and he is our spectator on the scene of life on the Ship of Fools. I think I can promise you a special moving picture experience with Ship of Fools, with a very, very special cast. And should you look closely enough, it might even be you will find yourself aboard the Ship of Fools.
I suppose I can see that. I mean, it doesn't feel like, and apologies to anybody that might have connections to this filmmaker, but it doesn't feel like you're watching like a Crash or something.
That's exactly the movie I thought of when you were.
Yeah.
I actually like Crash.
I like Crash too, but it does fit that category.
There are things I like about it, but it does feel like it's designed to do exactly what you're discussing, Bill. But I don't know. That being said, I mean, I can see this being nominated just on the backs of some of these performances.
Yeah, and I just want to say I'm glad we all like Cronenberg. Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
Moving on. What did you just say?
That's like the third time that Cronenberg Crash movie has come up in this.
We got to do Cronenberg. Have you seen Cronenberg's Crash? It's a completely different movie than the Crash that you know.
Yeah, no,
it's I know.
It's it's less of a slice of society.
We'll talk about it later.
So in episode 32,
that's right.
Yeah. We'll watch that movie.
There you go.
I'll come back.
There you go.
Okay.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, do you want to go through some of this cast and like?
I think that's a good way to do it because it is so cast heavy. I mean, this is an ensemble film, and it has, I'm sure a lot of the big budget went to some of these bigger stars, such as Vivien Leigh. Some of these people.
Wait, Vivien Leigh was in this movie?
Vivien Leigh, one of the great actresses of our time.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what's funny?
What's her last movie?
Well, what's funny is I'm not really that familiar with Vivien Leigh aside from Gone with the Wind. I don't know if I'm trying to think of another film I've seen with Vivien. I've never seen Streetcar Named Desire.
Come.
She's quite good at it. She does not actually have a very wide filmography. She's only done about 20 films. Yeah. So that might be why. And some of those are like TV films of the week, but the roles that she has had are largely iconic. So
she's in some big movies. I mean, I wouldn't call this one of them personally, but she is in some big.
She probably wouldn't either.
she apparently, when she was making this, she was dealing with depression and alcoholism, and this is her last film. She died July 8th, 1967, at 53. And do you know who was originally going to be in her role? A very big actress who you might know and like.
Ooh, tell me.
Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
But apparently Spencer Tracy was ill, and so she opted to take care of him, which I thought was sweet.
Okay.
But yeah, so Vivien Leigh, who I think is good in the film, I think her role is pretty small.
Very small.
I was kind of
and I
shocked.
don't really know what the purpose is, and that's what I was going to bring up with like this huge cast of characters. It feels like she's almost put there for the Lee Marvin character to play off of. It is very tacked in. Yeah.
It's tacked in, and it also feels like it's like a top-heavy casting. Like, let's get some huge star to play this tiny role, and that'll get us closer to the awards. You know, it's just. I'm looking at this very cynically, but it feels like maybe this was some of the reasoning. I don't know.
But also the number of Americans represented. It's her and Jenny. Am I?
Do you mean in terms of characters or actors?
Characters. I'm trying to think of the other Americans. That are
Lee Marvin.
Sorry. Yeah,
the
right.
oaf.
And George Segal.
George Segal and what's her name?
I guess
Elizabeth
I was thinking,
Ashley.
females.
Females. Yeah. I think she's
Jenny Brown.
So the four Americans are Lee Marvin, Vivien Leigh, and then Jenny. Let me just switch between characters.
Yeah, and actors. Elizabeth Ashley is the actress's name.
Elizabeth Ashley plays Jenny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
and George Segal as David.
Maybe it was to check up. I don't know. I think you're right, though. It probably because she, could bring in more money.
Right. She's. It's like when no. It's kind of like geezer teasers. Do you know that term for the films when they would get Bruce Willis when he was making movies, or they get Sylvester Stallone,
or Robert De Niro,
and no, like former action guys. They bring him into an action movie that's really low budget, and then they pay them like $2 million out of 3 that they have for the budget, and then they use $1 million or less to actually make the movie and pay everybody else.
Right.
And those guys only work 2 or 3 days, so it felt like maybe she worked, I don't know, maybe a week. Something like that.
Probably,
on a schedule like this.
Yeah.
And it was probably a fairly big schedule. So yeah, she feels like an afterthought in this film. She does have that lovely moment where she dances for a few seconds. That's kind of cute.
I mean, yeah, I can't really disagree with any of that. I guess maybe if I'm trying to be charitable of the film, she's like what happens to somebody when they've completely let go, when they've completely succumbed to that despair that we kind of described a little bit earlier. But if that is what she's meant to represent, it's done clunkily and not effectively.
I agree. No, I mean, I didn't even realize it until you said it. And I thought, oh, of course, that's what she is. Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably clear in the book, but I didn't think of that while I was watching it.
Yeah, right. But I mean, and again, it's it's kind of like what we were discussing with George Segal. I feel like there's a lot of characters that you could probably merge together.
Yes.
Agreed. Yeah.
You could probably put a little bit of what Vivien Leigh is doing together with what Simone Signoret is doing, who plays La Condesa.
La Condesa.
Now, obviously, they exist for different aims, but I feel like you could probably cram some of that despair into La Condesa's character and reach,
yeah, I feel like you could combine Lee Marvin and George Segal's characters. What if you had a painter who was a bit of an oaf, like a kind of Hemingway-esque, drunk, who also was thoughtful and sensitive?
Maybe.
That would be so much more interesting.
Maybe, yeah. Certainly. I mean, certainly more interesting than when they're doing with him here.
Right. But played with the George Segal sensibility and less like the Lee Marvin sensibility.
I would like either one, personally.
Cartoonish.
Well, less. I mean, I don't. Lee Marvin won the Academy Award that year.
For Ship of Fools.
No. For Cat Ballou.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, I wouldn't have known otherwise. I haven't seen Cat Ballou, but I found that little tidbit and I thought that was interesting. But he was trying to get out of playing the baddie. He was usually playing some second-hand baddie on the left or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that's what convinced him to be in this film, but maybe also in Cat Ballou, I'm not sure.
It definitely felt like there were just too many characters. You could have condensed for sure.
Yeah.
And that you like the nephew and his uncle that would not give him money.
Yeah.
Like why were they in there?
Yeah.
What was that? What was the purpose of that?
Right.
Well, you had to shoehorn faith into this somehow, They had to shoehorn religion into this.
Wait, what is that? How is that faith?
Because he keeps referring to himself as not worrying.
He gives the sermon.
Yeah, he provides this sermon.
He does give like a sermon, but what is the religious?
I'm just saying, it feels like, insofar as this film is trying to be some kind of a parable for society during times of crisis. He's just like the character. They just had to shove religion in there somehow, and he feels like their attempt to do that. I don't know.
That definitely feels shoved in because it's. Yeah, not clear. It's an afterthought, if anything.
He like sparks off this riot, which I mean, maybe he's there to, I don't know, represent how millenarian politics can divide a society. I'm really stretching here, but I can't think of a great reason for him to exist either.
Yeah,
he's preaching as a person of the first class, order.
Right.
Order.
Sure. Yeah.
He's preaching to the oppressed. He's
A
preaching
wealthy
to
person.
the Spanish,
Right.
who are, all shoved into one deck, I just wonder if that was a thing that happened back then. That was very interesting that they, just the fact that, they're putting all these people out in the open just to transport
and then
them.
they say that they smell and they turn the hoses on them.
Exactly.
Which was a bizarre sequence because
very bizarre.
And then they're just bathing while they're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Hit me with the water.
Yeah.
Do these people not know how to bathe? Like, why do they have to smell? Is it because they're poor? Like,
I believe
because
so.
they're brown? Like, what are we talking about here?
They have to smell so that the upper classes, so to speak, and particularly the German shipsmen can, rifle off prejudiced statements about them.
Racist things, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It's largely clunky and ineffective, but some of that
offensive too.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's I wonder if Kramer could defend himself if he would say that he aimed to offend on every level with every character, which I'm not saying makes it better.
No, I could definitely see that.
But I do wonder if that's his aim.
Okay, so what did you guys think of Vivien Leigh? I don't know if I gave you guys a chance to actually. I know I talked about her. What did you guys think? Did you like her performance?
I mean, I think it's, I would give it a little bit more credit than you might give it, if only because she's so jilted and jaded, and she does have a bit more gravitas than I think that.
I think her acting is fine. It's the writing.
Her reasons for existing, the writing are clunky. I do think that she's very important for Jenny Brown.
Yes.
The Jenny Brown character.
Yeah.
But that being said, the Jenny Brown character, along with the David character, should probably both go away. So, which is tough because like I want more women characters in this, and obviously I don't think that this movie would pass a Bechdel test. Not that they were aiming for that, but it would have been nice to have a character in here that would help us clear that bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The one woman who I actually think might pass the Bechdel test, or that I can think of in the script, is one of the dancers who Lee Marvin propositions.
That's a good point.
And she says how much, she's like, let's talk about money. And it's like, she takes that scene into her hands, like the power of
the power dynamic shifts.
Yeah, it shifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I loved that character. But yeah, most of the time they seem to be swooning over the men. And
I probably wouldn't have cared at all about that character if Vivien Leigh or somebody of that level was not playing her.
Right.
So I think it's smart that they cast Vivien Leigh, but I still don't really see the need for the character in the broad scope of things, because except for Lee Marvin to play off of and Jenny to play off of. I think that she was kind of their sounding board.
Yeah.
Not Lee Marvin's sounding board. She definitely was Jenny's sounding board. And then she had the story about the abuse, and the whole time I didn't know why, we needed to learn any of, I mean, obviously you need to learn about a character, but I didn't know why any of that was in there. And then who else are you going to put Lee Marvin with in the dining scene or in, so it felt like it was more to reveal his character than hers.
Yeah.
So, but I think she obviously played it well, but it was, just the way the character was written.
She doesn't really seem to come to life until she like wails on Lee Marvin with the shoe, and then she dances.
Well, she's got the scene with what is he, a second mate? that is wooing her.
Yes.
And so
that is a good scene.
Is she dancing or singing or they're having a moment?
There's
and
a
then
few
she
moments
turns
with
him
them.
down.
Yeah. And then at one point, I think they're out on the deck, and he says, this is how you're going to wind up, alone and wondering why.
I have been looking at you, thinking about you for a long time. You never noticed me. Why not? Now you will not kiss me. Why not? Do you want me to say I love you? I never knew what people meant by that word.
Don't say it. I can't bear the sound of it.
Then why did you lead me on during the trip? You never considered my feelings at all, did you?
No. I'm sorry for them.
Mrs. Treadwell, I am only a third-grade officer on a second-rate ship. But it has given me an opportunity to observe people. I have seen women like you before. 46-year-old women who are still coquettes. They travel on boats often, always searching for something. You know where that searching ends, Mrs. Treadwell? It ends by sitting in a nightclub with a paid escort who tells you the lies you must hear.
You are a most mundane, ordinary man. Extraordinary that a man like you should be saying things like this to me. Probably true. I think this evening's festivities have come to an end.
I shall be happy to see you to your door.
It's quite unnecessary. I'll find my own way.
How dare you lead me on and not let me fill you up?
Well, I took his advances to be less cynical than that, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Do you think he was a bit creepy?
It's hard to say.
He was. I thought he was actually. I thought the story.
I don't know if creepy is the word, but
I thought the story was telling us that this is a potential suitor for her who would be good for her. He actually genuinely cares about her, and if she gave him half a chance, he could be a good suitor. Mm-hmm. That was my impression. And then of course they have to spell it out by saying you're going to wind up alone. Da 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 da. So, and then she does. Yeah. I don't know.
Does she, Bill? Does she?
Maybe not. Maybe after she gets off the boat, she finds somebody else who's, right up
I kind of got the impression she settled with her husband. She was never into this guy. She was playing him the whole time. And did she want to settle with him? No, she'd rather be alone than settle with another man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
But definitely it is hard to see how she fits into the overarching narrative about looming nationalism. So
yes,
right. And I mean, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, that the story is telling us that she's going to be unhappy, but maybe it isn't. And I'm glad that I'm getting a different perspective, because that's how I saw it once, and that was the first impression that I got that they were telling us. But maybe that's not what they were telling us. And that's good. That's even more forward thinking than I would have given this movie credit for. So.
I could see how you would get that from a movie made in 1965. and potentially that was what they were trying to tell you.
Right.
I think.
She does dance. That little dance scene, maybe it is saying she can be happy on her own. She doesn't need a man. She doesn't need anybody, and she's going to be okay. Maybe that's what that meant.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Simone Signoret, La Condesa. What did you guys think?
I mean, her performance was amongst the strongest in the film for me.
Yes.
And as you guys already intimated, I mean, those scenes with Oskar Werner are pretty effective.
Yeah. Strong.
From the beginning. Yeah. From out of the gate, you're pulled in to this dynamic.
Right.
And I think it's so different from the other scenes we're seeing play out on the deck or in the ballroom or in the, dining area, where immediately it's this intimate relationship in a room with, him administering these sleep aids to her.
Right.
And immediately you can feel the sexual tension.
Right.
And it's, I think that's because it is such a nice, lovely, intimate performance from both of them. But I think it's also written well and directed well. You're kind of pulled in and compelled to want to know what happens with these characters.
There are great moments between them.
I mean, there's some of the only characters that allow themselves to be vulnerable in front of anyone, out of anybody in the film.
Very true.
And they're not cartoonish or anything.
No.
There's a weird sort of dynamic that happened to me in the film. There was the Elizabeth Ashley character as Jenny, who I thought I was going to, I don't know, in my mind think, oh, this is an attractive woman on this ship. And then there was the Simone Signoret character, and I thought, this is an unattractive woman on this ship. And what happened, hold on, before you think I'm a total chauvinist, let me explain what happened while I was watching. Those two things shifted for me to opposites. So I found the more that I got to know the Elizabeth Ashley Jenny character, I found her less and less attractive. And the more I got to know the Simone Signoret character, La Condesa, I found her more and more attractive. So I thought that was interesting, just as my own, as from a male gaze or whatever. I thought that was an interesting dynamic that I experienced.
Yeah, well, I mean, she actually has a system of values.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas Jenny doesn't really seem to have them, or if she does have them, they're nebulous in this film. So yeah, I mean, whereas Simone, and just from her introduction alone, I mean, a sea of sugarcane workers literally kind of splits for her to walk, and she's kind of being held by the people, and there's immediately like this
respect for La Condesa.
Yeah, the film executes that well on her behalf.
I think the Jenny character is interesting because she's also kind of not what you would expect, and I don't see her as two-dimensional. I think they could have written that character extremely two-dimensional, but you kind of are expecting, because there's all this dialogue about her being independent, and she's not going to be this kind of wife for me. She has her own thing going on, and I won't be her all in all. But then you see the prejudices kind of come out with her, and she's a bit also narrow-minded about his artwork. So I think, was it better in the book? Maybe. I'm sure the book was much longer. So they could have taken more time to flesh out that character. Exactly. Yeah, she did kind of, I found great, and I hate using words like this to describe women, so I probably shouldn't do that. But I felt like, I don't even know if heavy-handed is the right way to say it, but it felt, you felt yourself less sympathetic with her as the time went on. And I'm sure the values of, and seeing her prejudices definitely played into that.
This is the Jenny character. Yeah, I mean, the movie consistently refers to her as a modern woman, and she does feel like a really modern character, but then it feels like it's all subverted with the choices that she and David make throughout the film, and maybe that's the point. It's an odd point.
It is an odd point.
It's an obscure point.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like the notion that you mentioned earlier, Colin, of that maybe the point of these two lovers is that they're so wrapped up in their own little world and they're not seeing what's happening around them on the ship or in the world itself.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's the idea. Otherwise, I'm really confused. I'm confused.
I was confused watching. I'm just like, what are we doing with these people? And it's not even that it was conscious. It's just, I think I was just bored with them, on a sort of viewing level.
The second time around, you're gonna be much happier.
It's gonna be riveting.
How did you guys feel about this Spanish flamenco troupe? First of all, can I say, these fucking kids? Okay.
Yeah.
God damn these kids.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They threw a dog overboard.
They commit dog abuse, which is
dogicide.
That is, to me, is that's a penalty by guillotine offense.
They were kids. They didn't know any better. They wanted to see if the little dog could swim.
Okay, so I mean, they.
It's okay, Cindy. You can laugh.
We know what Bill did as a child.
Yeah.
I threw dogs over cruise liners.
Yeah.
I've never been on a cruise liner in my life, actually.
Oh, well, you're not missing much. So they had this weird grifter angle with those characters, and you mentioned that one of the more interesting characters in the film is one of the daughters who's literally being pimped out, or she's not a daughter, right? She's
just a dancer.
Part of the troupe.
Right, she's part of the troupe.
I think they're all being pimped out.
Yeah. At least 2 or 3 of them.
I mean, you only really see it in action with the woman who sleeps with the nephew, but the woman that also.
A friend of mine knows that actress, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Barbara Luna.
Okay.
Barbara Luna.
Yeah.
But the woman who rebuffs Lee Marvin's advances, to your point, I mean, clearly she was also there for that purpose.
Yeah.
But we just saw kind of a stronger, more independent version of the prostitute.
Right. Or at least somebody who, okay, if it's going to have to be this way, then it's going to be on my terms, because she seems completely disinterested in Lee Marvin. She doesn't even look at him. I love the way she acts that scene. He's talking at her, and she just like is looking off in the distance, listening.
She can't even look him in the eye. She's so repulsed by him.
Right. It's fantastic.
Understandably so. I really liked the dance troupe, I think, because it just added another dimension of interest where, and also I wonder about these I don't know if this was like a common route that was sailed. I don't know if this is all fiction. I really don't know much about this, but I don't know why I'm on this podcast, actually. I don't know anything about what we're talking about.
Join club.
Hey, me too.
Obviously there would be entertainment. I mean, we have either been on or know of entertainment on cruise ships. I'm sure that was a thing. And yeah, I think I was a little, I don't know why I'm naive, shocked to learn that this was a prostitution ring in addition to the flamenco dance group. There was also a line of dialogue where, and I think it was Bella,
you talking about the character I just said?
Yes.
Barbara Luna is Amparo?
Sorry.
Amparo is her name.
Amparo, when she is wooing, I believe that maybe I have this wrong, when she's wooing the nephew, where she says, I'm not a gypsy.
Yes, you're right.
And I'm like, oh, they're gypsies.
Right.
right.
So, they're parading as Spanish flamencos, but it makes more sense that they would be gypsies.
I guess the connotation might be that some of the Spanish dancers are some of them are Roma people. They're of that ilk.
Well, I also, and I hasten to make this entirely too political, but I kind of saw them as kind of like, I don't know, the equivalent of today's like downtrodden MAGA supporter who doesn't realize that, because they kind of throw their lot behind all these nationalist statements that José Ferrer is making, and they kind of, or at the very least, they kind of do make this big show of being supportive of the German people.
Yeah, there was a statement that I think the pimp lead dancer guy said about supporting the Germans and the Germans supporting the Mexicans or something like that.
Right, but I mean and going back to what you were saying about them being, I guess Romani is what we call them now.
Roma, yeah.
I mean, that was a group that was famously targeted first among the Nazis. So, I mean, I guess that's what I took from them.
Right.
And again, not subtle at all.
Right.
But but I see why they would include that in the film.
Right. Let's continue through the cast real quick. We talked about José Ferrer. So I don't know, was there anything else you guys wanted to say about José Ferrer?
I mean, they've really
he did devil.
Yeah, they really spared no creative energy trying to make him absolutely deplorable.
I like his performance as the Emperor better in Dune 1984.
Oh wow!
Than in this movie.
I was thinking about Miguel the whole time. I'm not even joking.
Are you?
Yeah. So he's very heavy-handed. He's doing a shtick. And
yes, there's a lot of shticking.
Yeah, and it's pretty schlocky.
Yeah.
There was another, again, kind of thrown away dialogue, piece of dialogue where José Ferrer's character, Reber, is sick in the room. And
and he's talking
Lowenthal.
Thank you.
Lowenthal.
Comes in and attends to him and gives him some medication. And Reber makes a comment about how, Jews aren't really that bad. And he's trying to justify his prejudice or hatred. And he says, and then Lowenthal says, the Jews and the bicyclists. Yeah. He says, well, why the bicyclists? And he says, why the Jews?
Yeah.
And it took me I actually rewound it a couple times because I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Right.
And I was like, okay,
that's a good joke.
There were little moments where it's like, okay, I like how that landed.
Yeah.
And clearly this man who Reber hates is attending to him while he's sick and showing that he is really, looking for the good in everybody. And he's still there to help this man even when he's down and out. I guess more of the moments in the cabins that were more impactful in my opinion, except for like a dance numbers or something. But those moments I think were really, I think that those really, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? They were kind of like, they kind of moved the film along or made it more impactful.
Yeah. Those are some of the best moments to get to know our characters. I mean, and it is an interesting choice that they kind of forced all these characters to share different bunks.
Yeah, they're on a giant cruise ship.
Yes.
Is that
I don't know if that was a thing in 1933.
Was it considered improper for like people of like, did you things were segregated by gender?
I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Treadwell had her own room, the Vivien Leigh character. Okay. And you never saw where Jenny slept, but they didn't have enough money for that set. So they ran out of money.
You can double some of these cabins. I mean, they're pretty similar.
Which is what they did with the Lee Marvin character and Glocken and George Segal. They put them all in one room. But it was, you didn't see any married couples. And I wonder if that was just because of the time period.
Although except for the couple with the dog.
Did you see them in their room?
Well, they're in a room together. Maybe that doesn't mean
that's
that
true.
They are,
because when the dog is saved,
right. But not in bed together.
That doesn't. Yeah, they might not be bunking in the same room. So it's hard. Yeah.
He called top bunk.
Let's talk about Lowenthal. And Heinz Rühmann. I think this warm and charming performance. I really liked it a lot. Obviously, he's supposed to be one of the more sensible characters in the film, but it's also played with a nice style and kindness to it. Did you guys like it? Or
definitely, yeah. He was definitely one of the more, I don't know, probably relatable character, but also, you had a more sympathetic, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the word, but you definitely felt, he had a nice charisma about him or a nice sensibility about him.
Humanity.
He had a definite warmth that is pretty much lacking across the rest of this cast, except for maybe from Glocken, which is probably why they gel so well together.
Yeah, let's move to Glocken. I really liked him. Excellent actor. I got the measurement here, 3'11".
Okay.
And apparently still the only little person nominated for an Oscar.
Interesting.
Linda Hunt, who stood at 4'9", did win an Academy Award for The Year of Living Dangerously in 1983.
Okay.
But I don't know that she qualifies as an actual little person. But this fellow was nominated for an Oscar for this film.
I enjoyed him very much.
Yeah. Apparently he's well known for playing Dr. Miguelito Loveless in the Wild Wild West TV show.
Okay. Now you're just making it up.
Yeah, seriously.
I actually I never saw this show, didn't watch any Nick at Night reruns or whatever, but he apparently is known. That's what he's most known for or something.
I thought he definitely he lit up the screen.
He did.
He had such a wonderful quality about his
his eyes.
face and his persona. Yeah. Yes.
The eyes really actually do stand out. Actually,
they dance.
A lot of good eye actors in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I mean, okay, so let's go to Oskar Werner. I mean, did we say enough about him? I think it's a fantastic performance. One of the most fully realized humans in the script and in performance. Apparently, Kramer didn't like working with him.
Okay.
I knew him
he
from...
wasn't big enough.
Maybe.
His performance wasn't big enough.
No, you have to yell during this moment.
Too subdued.
That part where you flip over at the end and you have the heart attack? No, you need to do 3 backflips.
Right.
He really is a good cognac hurler, I will say that. He does that effectively. No, I mean, he's, the whatever pathos this film is grasping at, steeping you in, he embodies it really well, and he's allowed to be subtle, and he does a lot with his face. And I don't know. I think he's tasked with a harder role than it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to Oskar Werner, who was also in Fahrenheit 451.
He is, and in Jules et Jim,
which is like the 4th film that comes up like at least 1 million times on the show. Fahrenheit 451.
Have we mentioned it before?
We mentioned it like 5 times.
Jules and Jim is the film that I know him from. Yes. I've never seen Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
I also liked the little touch, and this might be Kramer. So props to you, Kramer, if you thought of this. The little scar that he has on his
2.
kind of...
2.
He has 2? Oh, I only saw the one on his cheek.
He's got a Harrison Ford and then one on his cheek.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch. No pun intended.
No, yeah.
He does have a very quick line of dialogue but he doesn't explain it. He just says, and that's how I got this.
That's how I got this. Yeah.
But I wish they would have explained it
He says something like, I tried to become a man, and then points to it. And then, so I kind of read that as maybe he went off to fight the war or something like that. But and
the hard times that Germany has had prior to World War II. Because I mean, one of the reasons why the Nazi Party rose was because Germany was in such a deep, deep depression of they just, after World War I, they were destroyed.
And I guess that's part of the problem with this film being so bludgeoning you as heavily as it does with its themes, is that when it does have moments of nuance, like the one that you're describing, Cindy, is that they can go under the radar really easily.
So true. Like, why are you not explaining that? You're hitting us over the head with everything else, but why are you not explaining? I mean, it's a very prominent scar, but there's basically very little explanation.
I was okay with that, but I mean, maybe,
Oh no, I mean, I'm fine with them not giving us the entire backstory. What I'm saying is, when the rest of the film is working so diligently at saying, this is why this exists.
This is important.
Then when you do have those little moments, they can kind of go unnoticed, I guess.
Yeah. José Greco played Pepe, which, by the way, is a nickname that my grandmother gave me, or actually my aunt.
Oh, he's got fantastic buns, old Jose.
He's quite effective as the dancer and abusive pimp.
He is. He's very good.
I don't know this actor or dancer. Yeah, I believed him. I thought he was that guy.
Yeah, he was that guy. From, smacking his kids around to verbally smacking the women around. And, he was... Yeah, he was that guy.
Yeah.
I guess the only character I would maybe want to touch on last is the captain.
Okay.
Because he seems like he's kind of like an antithesis of Oskar Werner, or it's a direction that Werner could have taken, but doesn't. He's still got too much, I don't know.
I found him fine. Like, as far as the performance, I found it fine and nothing special. As far as the character, I read, and I wonder if this is a critic interpretation, that there was some kind of homoerotic thing going on between him and Werner.
Yeah, I kind of got a little bit of it.
And that he was interested in Werner's character, but that Werner was not interested in him. And so it was this unrequited love thing that was playing between them. I didn't pick up on that at all, personally. But
no, I don't think the movie.
I mean, he said, "I don't know what I'll do without you if you leave. Who am I going to play chess with? Who am I going to talk to?" But it didn't. Yeah, I didn't get that sense.
I don't think the movie's doing enough in that regard.
Anything else you want to say about the captain?
No. I just thought that he's interesting pitted against Oskar Werner, but
another possibility of the way Werner's life could have gone.
Right.
If he hadn't had the heart attack at the end of this movie. Well, that's one part that I'm not sure did the heart attack work for you guys? It was a bit much, wasn't it?
It felt out of nowhere. I don't know why.
It was bizarre.
I don't know why.
I read somewhere, I think it was like IMDb trivia or something, that it's one of Jack Nicholson's favorite performances. Okay. Was him having that heart attack. And I was like, really?
I think they didn't do enough to lead up to the heart attack. They mentioned it in the dialogue that, he's got this heart condition. Yeah. But he doesn't
touch his chest or anything. Nothing.
Yeah. Which you would expect in a movie like this.
Something. Yeah. Anything.
In fact, when he said that he had a heart condition, I thought he was being euphemistic, like maybe like somebody had broken his heart.
I thought so too. Yeah. I wasn't sure if they meant that or both.
Well, and I suppose you could use I
think him having a heart attack is a euphemism or rather a metaphor for his life having a heart attack.
Yeah, and his lost opportunity with the La Condesa.
La Condesa, so. 100%.
It's there and it's clunky, and I guess that's.
I just want to mention one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie is the scene with Tenny, the Lee Marvin character, in Glocken, when Tenny is talking about being a failed baseball player.
Yeah.
I kept thinking of acting class, and I'm like, this would be a perfect scene study for two actors. Yeah. It's well written, but it's also well performed by both of these guys. Yeah. And there's such a nice chemistry between them, but it's also, you really get a sense of who these characters are, more the Lee Marvin character.
I never could hit a curveball on the outside corner.
I beg your pardon?
I never could hit a curveball on the outside corner.
Most very interesting. What does it mean?
You wouldn't know if I told you. All right, I'll tell you. You're at bat, see? At bat. Bat! Okay, now you're at bat. The pitcher, he's out there. Now he's winding up, and he turns her loose, and just as it gets to you, it dips down and away. And that is a curveball on the outside corner. I could never hit that pitch with a bat.
We see.
No, you don't see. You don't see at all. You don't know what it's like to be out there and the crowd's yelling for you to deliver. And they start talking. The pitchers, they talk. You can't hit a curveball on the outside corner. And from then on out, that's all you see is curved balls on the outside corner. So you've had your big chance. And you have muffed it. You know, I can still hear my old man yelling at me from the stands, even though he wasn't there. Big Will, you are a bum! You are a bum, just like me.
Well, I think you're being a bit harsh on yourself, Herr Tenny.
A bum.
You know, I travel a lot. Well, my folks give me some money, not much, but some. They are more comfortable when I'm not around. You know what I find? I find the most amusing things about people are the guilts that they drum up for themselves. For instance, I estimate that there must be at least 873 million people in the world who don't even know what a curveball on the outside corner is. And so I think it a bit excessive for you to think that you have muffed your whole life just because you couldn't hit it, paddle or no paddle. Do you understand what I mean, Herr Denny?
No. You know what I think?
No.
I think that you are a sawed-off intellectual. Well, bottoms up, Shorty.
I would rather watch a whole movie between those two actors than this movie ever again. Like, seriously. Like, imagine like Lee Marvin and this guy, was it Michael, what's his name?
Michael Dunn.
Michael Dunn playing like a whole movie dedicated to those two characters. Bam, I'm in. Let's go.
Well, I mean, you're right, Cindy. I mean, like this, there's an economy of storytelling through the acting. Particularly, you're afraid that there will be this explosion of violence from Lee Marvin at any point, but they don't do anything, you know, and that's all of that is almost through Michael Dunn's facial reactions that you feel that way. So it's pretty impressive. Yeah, it definitely, like, it would make for a good acting class moment.
Well, when he does the first crack of the bat, I think that's very jarring, and it kind of like brings you into this moment of, you know, him telling the story, and it's very impactful.
Yeah, it's really effective.
So the other Oscar that it won, aside from black and white cinematography, was for the art direction. Art direction by Robert Clatworthy and set decoration by Joseph Kish. I thought we should bring those guys up because they did a great job on the set. Right. As far as my final thoughts on this, and you guys please contribute yours, I think that the film takes itself too seriously. If Kramer wanted to make his bad characters caricatures, he should have made a comedy. Putting caricatures in a serious drama makes the writing and movie look schlocky and amateurish. Some of the acting is extremely acted as opposed to more behavioral or feeling natural. It feels like watching bad theater at times. The movie isn't terrible and it isn't great. It's a total mid experience for me. What do you guys think?
I think it's a character-driven film that, for me, was a bit prescient, if only because of the correlation with our current times. And so I think it probably hit for me different this time than if I would have been examining it through a different lens some other time. If I had seen this movie 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I probably would have liked it much less. For some reason, it feels relevant. For some reason, it feels relevant, but I also can't deny any of the things that you're criticizing it for. I think it's really clunky, metaphorically.
Any last words, Cindy,
overall,
about the movie?
Very impressed with the set design and their use of space. Yes, definitely the smaller moments between, two actors was really, I feel like, the heart of the movie were those scenes. But yes, I think topically, I agree with Colin. I think if it was, a few years ago, it would have hit different. But I think that the dismissal of imminent danger and dread and evil was, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I picked this movie in this time, in this month. And it just felt very relevant in that way. And even though, yes, it was a caricature, it was very overdone.
No, you're right.
The themes were very relevant.
It's totally topical. No doubt about that. Yeah. So, Cindy, before you go, what are 3 films you've seen recently, old or new, that you'd suggest the audience check out?
I don't watch movies. Really.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I'm glad you're on the show.
Yeah, right. One movie from last year that I really enjoyed is the movie Night Bitch with Amy Adams.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised by this film, and I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't read anything about it. I watched 20 minutes and I turned it off because the husband character was so offensive.
Okay.
And so a friend of mine who had recommended it to me, I texted her and I said, yeah, I can't do this. And I probably was, who knows what I'd seen on the news or, on TV or whatever. Sure. And she's like, no, you have to keep watching it. And I'm glad I did because, the whole, I guess I can't spoil that movie, but have you both seen?
I have not seen it.
Your recommendation goes far.
Yes.
I will definitely check it out.
The animalistic metaphor of her turning into an animal at night, I thought was very effective. And I loved her performance and I loved the story.
I love Amy Adams.
Excellent. Yeah. She was saying that's one of her favorite roles that she's done. So cool. I'm eager to see it.
Yeah, she's really good. Another movie that I absolutely love, and that actually, Bill, you and I talked about this when I was talking about coming on the podcast, is Psycho.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Which I actually rewatched recently. And this, I feel like it's, I don't think it's an underrated movie. I think it is very highly regarded.
Yes, sure.
But there are times where I'm in a group of cinephiles and I'm shocked that my film loving friends, like the ones that have not seen it.
Right.
And the score, I was actually just reading about Bernard Herrmann and his masterful score.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's I feel like it's equivalent to the Star Wars score. I feel like John Williams' score just took Star Wars, A New Hope and Empire and et cetera, to another level.
Right.
And I feel like Bernard Herrmann's score does that with Psycho.
Well, I feel like John Williams is channeling Herrmann when he did the Jaws score.
Oh, yes.
The dun-dun, dun-dun. The strings. That's very Herrmann-esque.
Very true. Very true. And then I learned recently he also scored Citizen Kane. That was his very first feature. Can you imagine your first feature being Citizen Kane?
Crazy.
Yeah. I read a quote by him recently that said, basically, he ignores the director's direction because directors don't know anything about how to score a movie. And Alfred Hitchcock wanted him to use jazz themes in Psycho.
Oh, man.
He wanted to make a jazz score and he wanted no music in the murder scene, the shower scene.
Oh, yes, that's true.
And so Bernard Herrmann's like, I just ignored all of that. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bernard.
Thank you.
Bernard.
Yeah. So that's another definitely must see. It's just from top to bottom. There's no fat. It's so masterfully done. And I've seen so many, as you guys, I'm sure, have the making of and just behind the scenes and hearing about filming the shower scene. And I think Anthony Perkins' performance is one of the best ever.
It's astonishing.
It's so good.
You're gonna maybe be shocked by this, but the first time I saw that movie was 2015. They re-released it in theaters, and I saw it at the Chinese, and I was blown away by how good Perkins is in it. And this is going in knowing that he's going to be good. But I watched it and I was like, holy smokes, this guy is good.
It's enough to make you want to watch the sequels.
Yeah. He is so
He's
amazing.
masterful. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel another movie that I always recommend to people that I feel is underrated is Raising Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
One of my all-time favorite comedies. It's one of the only movies I can watch Nicolas Cage in. I just can't. I can't do it. I don't know if you guys ever watched Late Night with Conan O'Brien, where he did the what was the meter he did of the Nicolas Cage movies?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, he's hard to watch. Sorry, Nicolas Cage. because I'm sure you're listening to this. But it is one of my all-time favorite comedies.
That's
and
great.
Whoever I'm watching it with, I'm laughing the whole time, and the person's usually just kind of, sitting there looking at me oddly.
Yeah.
But you gotta appreciate a good Raising Arizona.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Tell us one more time the project that you have coming out that you worked on.
The Madness.
The Madness.
With Coleman Domingo.
Coleman
Yes,
Domingo.
it was released last Thanksgiving on Netflix.
Okay, and look out for it, guys. Go check it out. How can people actually find out more about you? Do you have an online presence?
I'm on Instagram.
All right.
Tsunami Girl.
Tsunami Girl.
Spelled phonetically.
There you go. SOO.
Yes.
This episode is sound engineered by Colin Dixon, edited and mixed by William Boudel. This was produced by William Boudel and Colin Dixon. Original music composed by Michael Riola. Recorded at Booze Hollywood Dell in beautiful Hollywood, California. If you'd like to contact us with comments, suggestions, or high praise, email us at cosmicmotionshow@gmail.com or send us a voice message at speakpipe.com/Cosmic Motion. You can find us on the socials at Cosmic Motion or Cosmic Motion Show. Emails, messages, audio, or other media you send us may be featured on the program. We want to thank our guest, Cindy Freeman.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It was our pleasure. Thanks to my amazing co-host, Colin.
It's always the cyclists.
And thank you, listener, for joining us on this episode. We look forward to sharing more thoughts with you on the next one. Until then, keep learning, growing, and creating.
Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
The Projection Booth is single-handedly the greatest film podcast you could ever listen to or could possibly want.
Top notch. 5 stars. This has quickly become one of my favorite film-related podcasts. Always interesting.
A completely unpretentious yet fully comprehensive look at films from all genres.
The Projection Booth podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
I don't know why I'm on this podcast, actually.